everyone, it's Hayes. In today's video we're going to be doing the commentary / analysis for episode 4 of Miraculous Ladybug season 5, Jubilation. Whew, I don't know why it sounds so cheerful because this episode has torn my heart out of my soul. Okay, so before we get into it, I'm about to spoil the whole episode as always, so please check the description box. Well, I will try my best to find some places for you to watch it, but no promises, because I really struggled with the structure and didn't find anything. It's usually best to watch the episode as close to it coming out as possible, but if you didn't, you didn't. That's one of those things. I didn't, I still managed to find it, so hopefully you should be fine for a few hours still. So yeah, please check the description box for some links to go and watch it, but please know they'll eventually get taken down for copyright. And one other thing before we start, I haven't read the show Bible, nor have I seen the vast majority of the leaks, so if you have, great, good for you. I haven't, and most people who watch my videos also haven't, and we'd all very much like to keep it that way. So if you can please restrain yourself and not post in the comments anything about leaks of any kind, that would be very much appreciated. Now, onto the actual analysis. Oh my god, solid 10 out of 10. And I was a bit like, Hayes, calm down. This is too early to be giving out full marks. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care. It was so good. There were a few things I have questions about, but they weren't enough for me to bring it down to a 9.5 or a solid 9. I feel like this episode is deserving of a solid 10 out of 10. And after I filmed my reaction, which will be up in a few days, I went on Twitter to see like what everyone's reaction was. Seeing like many people reacted the same way as me, like they enjoyed it, but were also very sad about the episode. Thomas Ostrup was like, oh, isn't it funny how an episode called Jubilation, which is like another word for happiness, makes you all so sad? We were all like, yes, thank you, Thomas. Anyway, so yeah, solid 10 out of 10. I felt all the things multiple times in this episode, not just because of the Lady Noir stuff, because of other things, so we'll talk about that. I thought it had a great pacing, a great structure. Like, this video is largely going to be praised, so if you didn't like the episode, that's fine, I respect your opinion. But this video, there isn't really much critique going on in it because I thought this was a pretty darn solid episode, I'll be honest with you. So, first of all, the girl, Succulene. Is that not her name then? Because maybe it's just because of, obviously it wasn't in the English dub, it was in the, I was about to say the Brazilian dub, that well-known language, Brazilian. It's in the Portuguese dub. To me, as an idiot, sounded like they were just saying Jacqueline. Or Jacqueline, I can't even say that name to start with. But you know what I mean, there was no SOC starting, it was Jack starting, not Sock starting. So, is this just a French thing? Like, I am learning French, I have like a 260-day streak on Duolingo for French, eh? And I know they do spell some things a bit strangely, like the French word for bird, l'oiseau. That makes absolutely zero sense in terms of how you say it and how you spell it. There really isn't much correlation there. So I was like, right, okay. So she's just called Jacqueline spelled differently? I don't know, maybe I need to wait until the English dub this weekend. But I was just like, what? Why? What? Didn't really get it. And I did like the structure with her, how she kind of like bookended the episode, because I say this in my reaction, I'm pretty sure, where I'm like, when Marinette first arrives at the art shop, I'm like, I feel like this situation would be better handled by Ladybug rather than Marinette, because whilst they are, I'm not really sure how close the girls are, it doesn't seem like they were ever best friends like Marinette and Alia are. Maybe like a level of like, I don't know, Marinette and Julika, Marinette and Rose kind of level of friendship, because like Marinette hasn't spoken to this girl in a year seemingly. I like that she bookended it, but I was also like, you really should be addressing the situation as Ladybug, because yeah, while you're friends, why is she going to listen to you on this matter? You have no authority here, you know what I mean? So I was glad that at the end, Ladybug went and spoke to her. I was like, ah yes, well done, because she's going to listen to Ladybug, she's not going to listen to Marinette about this. So I like that, and I liked how it was framed. Also, Mr. Damocles is called Dennis. Didn't see that one coming, that was just weird. However, one thing I really loved about this episode was when Marinette's talking to Jacqueline. Let's just call her Jacqueline for this video, because I can't say the other name and I'm not even sure if it actually is a name at this point. I don't want to embarrass myself any further. But I really enjoyed how in the art shop when Marinette was using the alliance ring and she talked about Adrian, and to me it was like a brief summary of kind of the reasons why she likes him so much and why she has feelings for him, and I just thought it was so sweet and genuine. Like, I've hated this for several years at this point, where people have been saying, oh yeah, Marinette only likes him because he's handsome and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, Marinette does think he's handsome, but that is not the sole reason she's in love with him. She's in love with him because he's kind and lovely and humble despite his background. She loves Adrian for who he is, and it has annoyed me for probably nearly half a decade at this point. I need to get a life. It's annoyed me for a while now that people are like, oh, she only likes him because he's handsome. No, she doesn't. She never has, and this episode confirmed it. Thank you. I feel vindicated. But I thought it was a lovely, sweet moment. I just love the alliance rings in general. This was like the first time we've really seen them in action outside of the advert that we got in multiplication at the start of this episode. It was the same one, of course. I love the outfit feature. That was hilarious. Like Adrian in a banana costume and the pirate costume. Great stuff. I mean, if Marinette had an alliance ring, I'm sure she'd put Lila in the ugliest thing ever. And I also love the thing with the map. First of all, it was hilarious seeing, like, the squiggle of Ladybug getting pulled around by the dino pigeon, the dinogen. Just made a word up. That's not a thing. It was really funny. But then how Jacqueline was like, oh, what have you been doing? But then also that information got sent to Gabriel. I was like, oh, that's interesting. He's using his brain for once. That was a big brain moment. But I bet it was probably Kagami's mum's idea rather than his idea. We could all probably agree to that. But however, his AI is Emily. How? Because in multiplication they did the, the scanny thing right at the end. I can't put my arms up properly. I had some blood taken the other day so my arm hurts a bit. But like, how did you do that to her? Because she's currently chilling down in the murder basement. How did that happen? I'm not complaining because I like it, but I'm just like, oh, the logistics of it. How? The math isn't mathing. How did that happen? I don't know, but oh my god, then we get to the first bit that absolutely tore my heart out of my soul. The bit with Daisy. Now, I know before the bit with Daisy, Shadow Moth? Who am I? First of all, Hazel, it's Shadow Daddy. Second of all, it wasn't him, it was Monarch Daddy. I'm losing it, apparently. I just realised it's getting too sunny, you can't see my fairy lights. How dare the sun be out today? Ugh, anyway. I know he used Kalki first, and Kalki was just a bit like, oh, okay, whatever, because it's Kalki. But then Daisy. First of all, the look on Daisy's face was enough to kill me. But then the sounds Daisy made. I don't think I'll ever forget those sounds. Like, I think I say in my reaction, like, are you sure this is a kid's show? Whilst I'm like, when I say glad we saw it, I'm glad we saw how like he's torturing them, but also in the same way I was also very upset at seeing that. Yeah, so that was the first time my heart got tore out, and then we just jumped forward to after the Akuma fight and Daisy's like, I'm hungry, and he's just feeds pellets. Maybe I wouldn't be so mad about that if we didn't know that Gabriel has a big ass kitchen and we know he can cook now. But now we do know that, I am even more annoyed at him for doing this to the Kwamis than I was before. I am trying to hold my anger in so I don't just start shouting, and so this doesn't become an unpleasant video to watch or an unpleasant video for me to edit. But I am, just in terms of that, I'm absolutely livid with him. If that man walked into my room right now, I'd knock his lights out. I'm not even joking. He has destroyed my mental health. Anyway. So, then we go to Adrian. In his room like that. I'm like, okay, with all the clothes and pizza boxes everywhere. I'm a bit confused how he's got into that state, because he not only is it a mess, but he also looks depressed. Like, even in Kuroneko, I don't believe he ever really got like that in terms of the appearance of the room. He just literally put his pajamas on and didn't really do anything. So what on earth has happened? I feel like right now we're really lacking from some lack of Adrian screen time. We got none in evolution, we got a bit in multiplication, really none in destruction, but then a bit now. But I'm like, what on earth is the catalyst of that? The only things I can think of, or the only thing I can think of, is the like worry or toll it's taken on him, wondering about what's happened to Monarch Daddy after the cataclysm and destruction. That's the only explanation I can possibly think of that he's got like that. But like I said this in my destruction commentary, because there was so much repetition and I feel like a lot of it was dragged out. I really feel like that episode would have really benefited from just maybe a minute towards the end of the episode spent with Adrian to see how he's feeling, and we didn't get that, so I'm a bit unsure of why he's like that. It wasn't enough to get me to mark this episode down, but I was just a bit like, okay. So I feel like this episode was pretty good as it was, so I don't think adding it into this episode would have helped, but an explanation later on would certainly be better. Like, it was just a bit strange, but okay. So I thought the Akuma fight just in general was really, really good, but then let's talk about the gift. So I had speculated, I think, when did I make the video? Was it for last Thursday? It was like my theory video, what I think is going to happen in Jubilation, where I put together all the screenshots. I was like, they could either both get hit separately or they both get hit together as one gift, and I guess it was a bit hard to really guess because the pig has only actually been used twice in the show up until now, in Guilt Trip for the first time and briefly in Kuroneko right at the start, so there wasn't really much, you know, like precedent for the pig Miraculous before, but Ladybug was touching Cat Noir, so I guess possibly, yeah. I guess, I don't know. So I was a bit confused at first because like all the other gifts we've seen, like the one with Soculine and the one with Julika and the one with, is it Baby August's gift in Kuroneko? I think it was Baby August, right? Gigantitan, yeah. That's who it was at the start of the episode. Like all those gifts kind of are something completely different, whereas their gift started as like a continuation of the scene. So I was a bit confused because at first I was like, oh, is like there a delay in their gift for whatever reason? No. It took me like a couple of seconds to get it. I was like, oh, okay, it's just continuing, okay. So part of their dream apparently is to smash their head teacher in the face with an alarm clock. Fabulous. And speaking of the alarm clock, I did quite like the way they showed this, that like showing them, quite obviously it wasn't real, there were quite a few hints that it wasn't real with the creepy babies and stuff, but with the repeated imagery of the alarm clock, I really liked it actually. It did get a bit annoying because it was getting in the way of the Love Square stuff, but it was meant to. And this is where I felt pretty much all of the emotions. So first of all, happiness seeing them get together. Again, slight confusion with the clocks, like they're about to kiss in the cinema and then suddenly there's a massive alarm clock next to them. I was just like, okay. The wedding was super duper cute. Love their outfits. I love the bit when Ladybug throws the bouquet, and of course Aeon was there. Yes! I love Aeon. Anyway. I was very disturbed by the babies. But I think everyone else was. I had a quick scroll on Twitter like I said before, and everyone was just like, what? I think it was quite obvious they weren't meant to be real babies. They were just dolls, which I guess is for the best because obviously they end up not being real. I think it would have been very sad to both Ladybug and Cat Noir, and more so the audience as well, to have 4 real babies that get taken off them. So in a way, as disturbing as it was, I am also glad they weren't real because I feel that would have been more heartbreaking, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's great. The moustache also disturbed me. However, just in general, the Lady Noir moments in the gift section were just beautiful, like the way they cuddle together on that beach when they both have 2 babies, when Cat Noir is carrying the baby on the roof, like when it's like strapped to him or whatever, and then them together on the bridge before they realise, and even when they do start to realise that it's not real, like Ladybug realises first and she says, hey, this is a dream, and he's like, every day's a dream with you, and he like cups her face or whatever and she leans into it, and then she's like, no, and I'm like, I went through a roller coaster of emotions in however long the sequence of I was up, then I was down, I was everywhere. Oh my god. And then they both start crying. Honestly, it killed me off, to be honest. Like, I said to one of my moderators, Ahmed, last night, I was like, I'm all trailered out, to be honest. I don't want them to release anything more for like a solid month. I'm all trailered out. And this is just the final blow. Killed me off once and for all. It was so upsetting because they both start crying, and they're crying so much their tears are going onto the bridge. Is that really possible? I don't ever feel like I've cried that much, that my tears have hit the floor, unless I'm like knelt down crying. Like if I was, for example, sat on my bed here crying, even if I was like leant forwards, I don't think they'd hit the carpet. Maybe I've just not been crying hard enough. Sorry. But either way, it was still really upsetting. So then they kiss. And then Ladybug disappears and Cat Noir is just distraught, and then back in the real world when they break out of it, he is so distraught to the point he nearly kills slash really badly hurts, but Damocles, as we know, a cataclysm doesn't necessarily kill you, as we saw with Gabriel Babes and also as we saw in Miraculous with Cat Noir and stuff. So his reaction to it was pretty upsetting. So I don't have much to say about the rest of it, although I'm sure Sabine is gonna have a field day with the Lila Alliance ring. Hope you have fun. She quite likes Lila, I think, from, oh, what episode? Ladybug. At the end they were like, oh yeah, Lila's still achieving her dreams, and Marinette was like, you gotta be kidding me. That was funny. So now let's just talk to the bit after the end card. And this bit broke me as well. Because I know the pig hasn't been used a lot, and I know neither of them have used it as well, but they know how it works and they know the power can't really be manipulated about that. One of my favourite episodes, as you all know, why am I saying one of? My favourite episode of this whole damn show is Guilt Trip. I have watched this episode more times than I would care to admit, because honestly it's getting past 50 times at this point. I love Guilt Trip. Let's not go into why in this video. But I love Guilt Trip, and the thing in Guilt Trip, one of the biggest things, is we see the pig's power for the first time with the wish. And Ladybug and Cat Noir see Julica's wish, they know it's true, they know Rose hasn't tricked it, and I'm pretty sure they are both aware in the back of their heads that you can't do that. So whilst I understand in one vein, I understand why Ladybug said that, because she didn't want to lead Cat Noir on, she didn't want to have false hope. Like, even in the wish, they wait until Hawkmoth is defeated to get together. So I do understand why she lied to him. Not that I'm saying that lying is okay, but I understand why she lied to him, I get it. So it wouldn't give him false hope that she loved him. But I also feel like he should have some doubts that it could be real, you know what I mean? I guess if he does doubt it, that means we can't have the love square flip, because it means he'll stay in love with Ladybug and won't start to view Marinette differently. I also get that as well. But yeah, it just absolutely tore my heart out. I understand it's probably the best for Cat Noir because he needs to fall for Marinette instead this season, which I want more than anything because I love Adrianette, but I'm just like, this is going to kill me. Oh gosh, like I feel like Ladybug knows that it was real. That's what she wants, it's what he wants as well. I am sad, but not sad because it was a bad episode. Sad, I guess, because it was bittersweet. I'm kind of feeling the same way about this episode, to a lesser extent, the same way I felt about Strike Back. Really well written episodes, but I didn't enjoy it loads, because it made me so sad. That's why I always say I prefer Risk to Strike Back, because Risk is more fun and it's less depressing. But I still thought it was such a solid episode, and it did have really good moments of humour in it, like with the babies and with the moustache, which I also think was needed to offset how upsetting it does actually get. So like, even though the babies are disturbing and so is the moustache, and they're also kind of funny, which is needed because of how heavy the episode basically gets. Like, Cat Noir after the Akuma fight and as the butterfly flies away, he is not having fun. Like, when she says Miraculous Ladybug, she sounds sad. Even the music in all of that sounds sad. Oh my god, the music as well. I couldn't hear it properly, but I said in my reaction video, I swear the music for that end scene was the rain scene music. I'm not 100% certain, but oh my god. Yeah, this episode, so good, so good. I loved it. The only thing I would like, and I'm not marking the episode down for it because I'm not really sure it would fit in this episode, I feel like this is the fault of Destruction and Multiplication, is that we just need some more Adrian screen time. I think we're going to get it in Illusion from the looks of the trailer, but we're not going to get Illusion for a bit because we're getting the other ones first. Why when Illusion's ready? I don't know, but okay, I don't make the decisions. But yeah, I just feel we're missing right now a bit of Adrian screen time. I know a lot of people were saying Evolution, Multiplication and Destruction were kind of done the same way Truth and Lies were done, in that they take place at the same time. And whilst I'm fine with that general concept, I don't feel this season's openings were done as well as last season's openings in terms of that happening at the same time sort of thing. So I don't like it as much. Like, I could understand, like I could tell during Truth and Lies which bits happened first, which bits happened at the same time. I'm still not sure in Multiplication and Destruction which bits happened where, and I do really feel, due to the amount of repetition that was in Destruction, we could have done with a bit more Adrian screen time, and having that screen time may have fixed the teeny tiny issue I'm having with Adrian in this episode. But like I said, not big enough to get me to mark this to a 9.5 out of 10, Maybe I'm being too generous. I often change my mind several hours after I've made the video. For example, last week when I made the destruction video, I was like, yeah, 7 out of 10. 3 hours later, I was like, actually, you know what, it's a 5 out of 10. So anyway, besties, I'd love to know what you think of the episode. Oh my gosh, it's so good. I'd love to know what you think, but it's okay if you don't agree with me. Besties don't always agree with each other, but besties always respect each other's opinions. And if you're going to write me a very long essay in the comments, I can't wait to read it, but please bung some paragraphs in there. I wear glasses, I don't have the best eyesight, so it would just really help me out. So I'd love to know what you think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!